Good afternoon, I'm Elton Robinson with your December 4th grain and oilseed update. Fresh off the Thanksgiving holiday. We had a great meal and I hope everyone listening did too. I can hardly feel the extra 5 pounds I put on. Now to crop conditions. Cotton and peanut harvest is still lagging behind normal in Alabama, Georgia, and North Carolina, but both crops are significantly behind in South Carolina, where producers are desperate for a run of sunny weather to finish up. In South Carolina, some of the remaining crops may not be harvested due to poor quality. Grain sorghum, corn, and soybean harvest is essentially complete, although rains hampered the conclusion in many states. 93% of the U.S. winter wheat crop is emerged, with only 9% rated in poor to very poor condition. And with that, here are the export numbers for U.S. exports for the period ending November 26th. Wheat exports of 400,000 metric tons were up 54% from the previous week and 56% from the prior 4-week average, with China, Korea, and the Philippines as primary destinations. According to an article in MarketWatch, tensions following Turkey's shooting down of a Russian jet are disrupting Black Sea wheat trade, which is one of the world's biggest grain routes, which could bring higher prices as customers look for alternative supplies. It should be noted that no formal Russian ban on grain exports has been reported. Wheat represents one of the main items traded between the two nations, with Turkey the #1 destination for Russian wheat last year, the MarketWatch report said. Russia is the third largest wheat exporter, with Turkey and Egypt as its biggest customers. However, large supplies of wheat are still hanging over the market, which has probably muted any market reaction. In fact, for the first half of this week, Chicago wheat futures declined in both the nearby and distant months. Corn exports of 374,000 metric tons were down 30% from the previous week and 11% from the prior 4-week average, with Japan and Mexico as primary destinations. Sorghum exports of 173,000 metric tons were up 6% from the previous week, but down 17% from the prior 4-week average. China once again took the lion's share. Rice exports of 54,000 metric tons were up 95% from the previous week, but unchanged from the prior 4-week average, with Mexico, Japan, and Haiti as primary destinations. Soybean exports were once again very strong at a little over 2 million metric tons, with China taking a little over 1.34 million metric tons. Other customers included Turkey, Thailand, and Thailand. Soybean meal exports of 275,000 metric tons were up 58% from the previous week and 49% from the prior 4-week average, with Thailand, Colombia, Egypt, and Mexico among customers. Soybean oil exports of 28,000 metric tons were up noticeably from the previous week and 21% from the prior 4-week average, with mostly South American customers. Beef exports of 110,000 metric tons were, 11,000 metric tons were down 9% from the previous week, with Japan, Hong Kong, and South Korea as customers, while pork exports of 17,000 metric tons were down 15% from the previous week, with Japan, Hong Kong, and South Korea again as primary customers. Well, that's it for this week's report. I'm Elton Robinson. See you next week.